I'm Anita and you're watching Nightline, the top stories. Dewan Rakyat passes Control of Smoking Products Bill. Also, Hamas-Israel truce in Gaza extended as more hostages freed. Our headlining story. The Dewan Rakyat passed the Control of Smoking Products and Public Health 2023 bill via voice vote on Thursday. Tabled by Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, the bill includes the provision prohibiting the sale and purchase of tobacco products, smoking materials or tobacco substitute products and providing any services related to smoking to minors.
It also witnessed the removal of the provision for the Generational Endgame (GEG), prohibiting the sale of tobacco products and cigarettes, as well as banning individuals born on January 1, 2007 onwards from smoking.
Pemantauan dan penilaian bagi RUU ini akan tetap dijalankan secara berterusan dan diperkukuhkan. Walaupun peruntukan GEG tidak dimasukkan dalam rang undang-undang ini, ia tidak bermaksud Kementerian memandang ringan masalah merokok di negara ini. Kita sebaliknya akan terus mempergiatkan aktiviti advokasi pencegahan merokok.
She stressed that the ministry will examine the need to reinforce the GEG provision once the bill is enforced. Earlier in her winding-up speech, Dr. Zaliha explained that treatment for chronic diseases caused from smoking complications such as cardiovascular, cancer and lung disease would cost an estimated total of 8.77 billion ringgit by the year 2030. Tabled for the first reading on Tuesday and the second reading on Wednesday, the bill that contains 54 clauses was debated by 27 members of Parliament.
There are no plans to impose a mandatory 1,500 ringgit minimum wage order for now, following the adoption of a more progressive wage approach. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said that a more balanced approach was in favour of cushioning the impact on small and medium businesses, whereas allowing better salaries for entry-level graduates in the job market. There has been extensive discussion over the past 7 months on whether there should be laws such as a minimum wage order, following which the Cabinet has approved a policy for a progressive wage model. Earlier this month, Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar said the current 2-year minimum wage order is being reviewed in line with the National Wages Consultative Council Act 2011. The minimum wage order was enacted on May 1, 2022, with a monthly minimum wage of 1,500 ringgit for all sectors, regardless of region, for employers with 5 or more workers. Stakeholders in the halal industry must shun unethical practices and unlawful transactions to foster a comprehensive halal economic ecosystem. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadina Yusof said these practices include price manipulation, hoarding and market intervention.
While emphasizing halal aspect across these industries, it primarily centers on substance, process and exchange. A comprehensive halal economy must integrate the values of justice, truth and welfare, especially concerning business transactions.
He added Malaysia had long harboured ambitions to be a global centre for the production and distribution of halal goods and services. The rising demand for halal goods and services had also led to non-Muslim countries like Thailand, Australia and Brazil becoming prominent exporters of halal products. In fact, greater awareness of the halal industry's potential in emerging markets was expected to boost the halal economy, projected to reach 23.3 trillion ringgit by 2030. Five new cases of monkeypox involving local men have been detected in Malaysia from October 31st to November 29th, bringing the cumulative number of cases to 9. Health Director General Dr. Muhammad Razi Abu Hassan said that all the new cases were unrelated to the previously reported cases.
The fifth case, confirmed on November 10th, involved a 40-year-old man who was involved in risky activities and showed symptoms of fever and blistering on October 29th. The sixth case was the 32-year-old man who showed symptoms of fever and blisters on November 7th and was confirmed 5 days later. The 7th case, a 35-year-old man, was a close contact with the 6th case and exhibited similar symptoms on November 11th, which was confirmed the next day. The 8th case involved a 26-year-old man who had been involved in risky activities in the past and showed symptoms such as fever, headache, muscle pain, swollen glands and maculopapular rash since November 6th and was confirmed on November 12th. The 9th case involved a 47-year-old man who exhibited fever and rashes on November 8th. All cases are undergoing isolation at the hospital and are in stable condition.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Thursday received a courtesy call from Indonesian Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto at Sri Perdana Putrajaya. Various issues of mutual interest between the two countries were discussed during the meeting. These include Malaysia-Indonesia bilateral ties, as well as cooperation in the areas of defence and security. The meeting was also attended by Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan and Deputy Home Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Shamsul Anwar Nasara. Earlier, Muhammad Hassan had welcomed Prabowo upon his arrival at Subang Airport. The Sijil Tinggi Pelajaran Malaysia, or STPM examinations, which is mandatory for Form 6 students in the country, is not a second-tier academic program. Education Minister Fadina Siddiq said, in fact, it is comparable to international benchmarks, including standards set by Cambridge Assessment International Education. She highlighted the difficulty of the STPM examination, saying that it is the toughest in the country. Fadlina also commended the remarkable accomplishments of STPM students in Terengganu, achieving a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 in 2022, in addition to the increase in number of those who scored straight A's from 64 to 112 this year. She lauded Terengganu's consistent excellence in education and emphasized that this achievement is not only confined to Kemaman, but extends across the entire state. According to Fadlina, the student dropout rate in Terengganu at both primary and secondary school levels is better than the national average, with no record of dropouts in the state, in contrast to the national rate of 0.06% for primary schools and 0.83% for secondary schools. A fishing boat attempted to escape with dried turtle meat and other endangered marine animal products worth over 5 million ringgit off Sabah's northern Kudat district. A marine police vessel spotted the boat with 4 suspicious men on board at the Mangsi Reef waters on Wednesday and immediately instructed them to stop for an inspection.
Region 4 Marine Police Commander Assistant Commissioner Ahmad Arifin said the boat instead suddenly turned and headed to shallow waters near the Mangsi Reef. When the boat stopped, 4 men were seen abandoning the ship by jumping into the water and swimming to the shallow part of the reef. Soon after, a pump boat could be seen approaching the suspects. Police believe they are part of the same group. The boat then made its way quickly to international waters at the Malaysia-Philippines border. The marine police vessel was not able to pursue the suspects due to the shallow water in the area. On checking the abandoned fishing boat, he said they found many sacks on board. They contained dried meat, including 9 tons of turtle meat, as well as 2 tons of dried cockles and sea snails. Also found were 200 kilograms of grouper fish, 150 kilograms of seahorses, 90 kilograms of sea cucumber, 80 kilograms of seaweed, and 5 kilograms of shark fins, all of which had been dried. The items are estimated to be valued more than 5 million ringgit. Probe is being conducted under the state's Wildlife Conservation Enactment 1997.
Whereas in Sabah, 6 workers who were exposed to a gas leak at a construction site in Tawau are still being treated at the Tawau hospital. In the incident on Wednesday, a labourer fainted while 5 others suffered breathing difficulties due to the gas leak, believed to be chlorine at a construction site at Pegagau Agriculture, Wakuba. Tawau Fire and Rescue Station Chief Jemishin Ujin said all of the labourers who are foreign nationals were aged between 19 and 43. One of the 6 is in the red zone at the emergency unit, while the others are in the yellow zone. The gas leak had occurred at about 11 a.m. during digging work using an excavator at the site. Civilians living 500 metres from the vicinity were also moved to 1 kilometre away for safety. Community Communications Department, or JCOM, Assistant Officer Abdul Wahab Abdul Qadir Jailani has lodged a police report on Thursday regarding a lewd video call conversation involving former JCOM Director General Dato Dr. Muhammad Agus Yusof. 33-year-old Wahab, together with his lawyer Faisal Abdul Rahman, arrived at the Kajang District Police Headquarters at 11 a.m. to file the report. Speaking to the media, Wahab said he is currently unable to confirm the current status of his position at JCOM following the investigation. Faisal, meanwhile, said they were satisfied and happy with the prompt police action in completing the investigation. Earlier on Thursday, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein confirmed that the defamation investigation involving Muhammad Agus and Abdul Wahab has been completed. He said 8 witnesses have been already called to give their statements, and the investigation papers conducted by the Bukit Aman Classified Crime Investigation Unit will be handed over to the Attorney General's chambers on Friday. One of the 3 policemen suspected of kidnapping a Bangladeshi journalist has been suspended from duty. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Dato Alauddin Abdul Majid confirmed the suspension and said further action on the other 2 officers will be considered pending the outcome of the investigation. Previously, it was reported that the investigation papers concerning the 3 police officers accused of kidnapping the Bangladeshi journalist were submitted to the Deputy Public Prosecutor last week. Selangor Police Chief Dato Hussein Omar Khan said that all 3 members of the Special Branch Unit at the Putrajaya District Police Headquarters have been released on bail following the end of their remand. Adipo Labs Healthcare Malaysia made strides in oncology by hosting the 5th IVRA International Hypothermia Medical Conference in Putrajaya, the first ever edition hosted outside Korea. With the theme Connecting Compassion with Science and Cancer Care, the conference gathered medical experts and academics from Malaysia, Korea, India, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore and Indonesia, showcasing a global commitment to expand new approaches to cancer management.
We want all the doctors and medical sectors to know about hypothermia as an adjuvant therapy to chemo and radiation. So we have heard a lot of oncologists over here speaking about hypothermia as an adjuvant therapy. So I hope that this will take a major step into the medical industry using hypothermia with chemo and radiation.
Featuring a lineup of 28 esteemed speakers, including luminaries like Professor Dr. Ho Guo Huang from University Malaya Medical Center, UMMC, Professor Dr. N.R. Datta from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, MGIMS, India, as well as Professor Dr. Lee Kang-hyun and Professor Dr. Jang Hong-seok from leading institutions in Korea, the conference presented the latest insights and breakthroughs in cancer research.
The purpose is to bring all the scholars into one particular area so that they conduct the research and the innovation of the particular modalities that are available. You see, hypothermia has been around for a long time, 4 or 5 decades already, but the technology has evolved over a period of time. Adipo Labs is focused in the research and development of modern technologies for the benefit of patients and also to improve the patient outcome.
The gala dinner concluded the conference, fostering unity and collaboration among healthcare professionals dedicated to alleviating the challenges of cancer.
Up next, dozens killed in Kazakhstan hostile fire. News from the foreign front right after this short break. See you then. The truce between Israel and Hamas has been extended for a 7th day. Sources from both sides announced just minutes before the agreement was set to expire. Israel's military said on Thursday that the temporary pause in fighting in the Gaza Strip will continue in light of the mediators' efforts to continue the process of releasing hostages and subject to the terms of agreement. In a separate statement, Hamas said an agreement has been reached to extend the temporary ceasefire, which initially began on Friday. The truce will be extended for at least another 24 hours. Qatar, which has been mediating between the two sides, said the agreement was being extended under the same terms as in the past, under which Hamas has released 10 Israeli hostages per day in exchange for 30 Palestinian prisoners. While Israel and Hamas reached an agreement to extend the temporary ceasefire in Gaza for a 7th day, Palestinians shopped in an open-air market on Thursday near the ruins of houses and buildings destroyed, still in fear of whether or not the truce will end.
والله انت شايف الوضع كيف احنا زي ما انت شايف السوق كله بتسوق عشان اخر يوم في الهدنه الواحد خايف من بكره ايش يصير بيتحسب ايش يصير بده يعمل حساباته يعني مع الواحد بيتامل انه يكون يعني اخر يوم هذا يفكونا من هالموال كله خلينا نخلص من قصه التشرد اللي احنا فيها
زي ما انتم شايفين الدمار مع انه بنبيع للناس ونوفر للناس الخدمه تمام مع انه اليوم الناس مزدحمه علشان بكره اطلاق النار هيرجع والله يكون بعون الناس على اللي بده يرجع لهم اليوم احنا شويه خضر متوفره بكره فيش اي حاجه عندنا.
In other news, the United Nations UN said that the world must not look away from the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. Its Secretary-General Antonio Guterres urged for a true humanitarian ceasefire and highlighted the importance of instituting a lasting two-state solution.
We know that the measure of success will not be the number of trucks dispatched or the tons of supplies delivered, as important as these are. Success will be measured in lives that are saved, suffering that is ended, and open dignity that is restored. The people of Gaza are in the midst of an epic humanitarian catastrophe before the eyes of the world. We must not look away.
Speaking at the UN Security Council meeting chaired by China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, Guterres also called for the opening of more crossing points and simplified procedures to facilitate the swift and smooth entry of humanitarian supplies into Gaza. Meanwhile, he also urged for the immediate and unconditional release of all detainees by both Israel and Hamas. At least 13 people were killed in a hostile fire that broke out in Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty, on Thursday. It was reported that the fire broke out early in the morning in a 3-story building whose ground and basement levels were occupied by 72 hostile guests. According to authorities, 9 victims were Kazakhs, 2 people were from Russia and 2 from Uzbekistan. The victims died from carbon monoxide poisoning, while the remaining 59 people managed to leave the building. The cause of the fire remains unclear, but the government said it has set up a special commission to investigate it. Over in India, a storage tank blast killed at least 7 people and injured 24 others at a plant of a specialty chemicals maker in the western port city of Surat. A police officer based near the site of the blast in Gujarat state had earlier reported that 7 bodies were retrieved from the factory, adding that authorities were now calling off a search for missing workers on Thursday. The other 24 people who were injured in the incident are currently receiving treatment in different hospitals. Officials in the meantime said the cause of the explosion is yet to be determined. Henry Kissinger, a controversial Nobel Peace Prize winner and diplomatic powerhouse whose service under 2 U.S. presidents left an indelible mark on U.S. foreign policy, died on Wednesday at the ripe age of 100. According to a statement from Kissinger Associates Incorporation, the former Secretary of State died at his home in Connecticut. However, no mention was made of the circumstances. It said he would be interred at a private family service to be followed at a later date by a public memorial service in New York City. A Jew who fled Nazi Germany in his teens, Kissinger's power grew during the turmoil of Watergate when the politically attuned diplomat assumed a role akin to co-president to the weakened Nixon. His efforts led to the U.S. diplomatic opening with China, landmark U.S.-Soviet arms control talks, expanded ties between Israel and its Arab neighbors, and the Paris Peace Accords with North Vietnam.
And it's culminating still through
football, the AFC Cup. Sabah FC continued their impressive run after thrashing down Hougang United of Singapore 4-1 at the Jalan Besar Stadium on Thursday night. Sabah dominated the game early on and finally broke the deadlock in the 15th minute through Naoki Kuriyama's own goal. However, the match had to be temporarily suspended about 2 minutes later due to heavy rain. Once the match resumed, the visitor doubled the lead through a penalty kick by Darren Lock in the 44th minute, bringing the scoreline to 2-0. Just 3 minutes into the second half, Ramon Machado's volley found the back of the net before the home side unfortunately contributed to Sabah's triumph with an own goal in the 77th minute. Despite the challenges, the home team salvaged a moment of pride when Gabriel Kwak scored in stoppage time. With this win, Sabah advanced into the semi-finals as Group H winner. The AFC Champions League now. Bangkok United clinched a spot in the round of 16 following a 1-0 win against Lion City Sailors FC in the Group F clash.
After a goalless first half, the home side were in possession and thought they had scored the opener when Tosawat Limwan Nastian was found unmarked inside the box, who guided his header into the far corner. The VAR, however, ruled it out and it was soon back to a goalless match. Bangkok were back on top when midfielder Rungrat Pumichantuk managed to secure 3 points for the home side 5 minutes from time as he stepped up and curled home a free kick 20 yards from the goal, leaving Zarfan Rohaizad no choice but to stand and watch. With the win, Bangkok United are confirmed as Group F winners, taking them to an unassailable 13 points, while Singapore's Lion City Sailors are on 6 points with just 1 match remaining.
we return, teacher charged with 5 counts of sexual misconduct. Don't go away.
Postpartum bodies represent one of the...
Nightline. A teacher was charged in the Muar Sessions Court in Johor with 5 counts of committing physical sexual offences against his students. The accused, Muhammad Fauzi Musa, 35, allegedly committed such acts against 3 of his male students in the library of a religious school in Tangka in years 2019 and 2020. He pleaded not guilty to all charges read in front of Judge Abu Bakar Manat. The court allowed bail in the amount of 10,000 ringgit for all charges. The court also set 2 conditions, namely that the accused must report to the Sungai Mati police station every month and must not contact or disturb the victims until the case is completed. The case will be mentioned again on January 16th for the appointment of a lawyer and the submission of prosecution documents related to the charges. An oil palm plantation worker was sentenced to 1 year in prison by the Teluk Intan Magistrates Court for voluntarily hurting his mother when she refused to give him money to purchase drugs. Magistrate T. Ashvini meted out the sentence on Chai Chon Tak, aged 29, who pleaded guilty to the charge. He was ordered to serve the jail sentence from the date of arrest, which was on November 27th. Chai was charged with voluntarily causing hurt to Hugh Yok Cheng, aged 50, who is his biological mother, in a house at the DAP office building at Lorong Taman Langkap Jaya at about 3 p.m. last November 27th. The punishment is meted out under Section 326A of the Penal Code for causing hurt to a family member, which provides imprisonment for a term, which may extend to twice the maximum term for which he would have been liable on conviction for the offence under the relevant section. Nightline draws to a close this time around, but before we leave, we take a look at the enchanting ambience of the Trame di Luce exhibition, gracefully hosted at the Gardens of Villareale in Monza, where visitors can wander through the colourful displays of light and nature. You've been with me, Anita, for the past half hour. Thank you for watching, and be well, Malaysia.